Welcome to this edition of Go Vote Omaha, presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha. I'm Jasmine Frazier, and joining us today is Yshall Davis for today's program on returning citizens. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization and does not endorse political candidates or parties. The League does, however, take positions on issues. Our purpose is to empower voters, and defend democracy. Go Vote Omaha primarily focuses on policy issues, and as a result of our discussions, we hope you will feel ready to make informed decisions at election time. Today, we are talking about the Returning Citizens Program at the Heartland Workers Center. This program is led by Yshall Davis, who is here to tell us what we should know about the program and more about voting rights for returning citizens. Yshall, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, so let's dig into some discussion pieces. So can you start by giving us a brief overview of the program?
Okay, so the program is an extension of the work that we do in the community with regular core team community members. So we, like you guys, are a nonprofit, nonpartisan. So we work to inform all community members about civic engagement and leadership development. We decided to actually take the work that we do with everyday community members and reserve something specifically for returning citizens. So it's pretty much the same work we're doing with everyday grassroots people, but with this group, we wanted to do the same work with the returning citizens. Even in our normal community groups, we want those groups to be led by community members. So with the returning citizens group, we want this group to be led by a returning citizen because we feel like they are the experts in, with the issues that they have to face. So with that group is pretty much creating a safe space for returning citizens and bringing them up to speed with things that they've missed out on during their incarceration, as far as policy, employment opportunities, schooling opportunities, and just, a lot of people come out, they might not even, their family could have moved away, could have passed away, and they want to, be engaged with the community. So we feel by having that space that we create that place for returning citizens to come and get reacclimated.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about why the program was created?
Well, it was created, the why was because when we were dealing with regular community members and we say, hey, I want to get you registered to vote, we would hear oftentimes, I can't vote. And the next question is, why can't you vote if you don't mind me asking? And it would be, because I have a felony. And so we heard so much of that we realized that they just don't know that, after that 2-year period, that waiting period, being free of parole, incarceration, things of that nature, that you can vote. And things of that nature, just, we really noticed that they didn't really know anything that was going on as far as civic engagement. It just wasn't much that they were aware of. So again, we felt like this would be the place where you can get caught up and learn, how to navigate and become civically engaged. Okay. If I heard the question correct, then I think that's what I want.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. We wanted to know the why behind the program.
Yeah.
What kind of outreach or / work do you do in returning citizens populations?
Well, right now, because we want this group to be led by returning citizens, we're leaving it up to them the direction that we want it to go. I'm partnering with other groups, so we all have ideas of what we want to see, come out of this union. But with the returning citizens, we really trying to. This group kind of reminds me of like an AA or NA group. Everybody has something in common with this addiction. With this returning citizen group, they have something in common with, being incarcerated, knowing the ins and outs of the penal system, how they're treated, what day, what a day in the life looks like. Upon release, what were the initial impediments that were in your way, or initial roadblocks that you ran into, so we want the experts to tell us, what is that like So we have other people coming out and they can anticipate to, share some of those experiences. So we got people there. I went through this with you, I went through this too, so when you hear other people talk about how they responded to it and what they had to do, is just having that, uh, that community piece to where, so the goal is to help them not recidivate at the, degree that people do, because some people can get out recidivate in 30, 60, 90 days. They said that's a very critical period. If you don't know what direction you're going in the first 30, 60, 90, then you could be in trouble. So we kind of want to be there. The first 30, 60, 90, even in this group, we're asking questions like, do we connect with individuals prior to them getting out? So can we create some type of system where we're corresponding via letters, or if someone could call, just to kind of find out what needs to be in place. Somebody's coming home, things of that nature. So it's pretty new to where we're still figuring out, what we want our strong suit to be.
Excuse me. How do we help folks currently incarcerated use their right to vote?
Those individuals currently incarcerated, they can have someone mail them a voter registration form. You can be mailed an early voting ballot, and you'll just pretty much use the jail's address as your location. That way, if you are in Douglas County, you're in the county jail, you're still in the D2 if you live in the D2. So yeah, you could do that. A lot of the administration may not be familiar on how that works, but you can do kites and tell them, this is what you want to do. We do know that it's okay in Douglas County for people without felonies to vote. So it's something that they're addressing, and it could happen. With this upcoming year, 2023, we're going to look into a lot of that, being that it's not a voting year, just kind of things we've learned over the 3-4 year period, from the presidential to the mayoral to the gubernatorial election, what people are experiencing. So the year that we'll finally be off, we look to address a lot of that to make that a smoother transition. If you're in jail, that way we can have some of that information prior to 2024 and kind of help individuals know the best route to take if you find yourself in a county jail without a felony. See what the best thing to do is.
Okay. What common misconceptions exist about voting in the criminal justice system?
I think it's kind of the same one that exists outside of that, is that a real big misconception is people really don't think that their votes count. You got this misconception that a lot of people have jumped on the train that my voice don't count, so I'm not going to vote. A lot of people still think, so like say if you're in a county jail and you don't know if you're going to get that the highest misdemeanor or the lowest felony. So those individuals are scared to vote too. So the thing is, get registered to vote regardless, and then say you get charged for a felony prior to the actual time to vote, then just don't vote. But like at least prepare to vote. That preparation is going to be the big piece, instead of just running a course and waiting too late, not being able to. Proper preparation, I think, will assist best there. Because you can get registered and don't have to vote. But if you're at least ahead of the game, get registered, everything goes your way, now you're voting.
Okay. Okay, so can I register to vote if I was arrested for or charged with a felony, but the charges were dismissed or reduced to a misdemeanor?
You can vote. As long as you didn't get that conviction, that felony conviction, you can still vote. And for those who do get the felony conviction, I just advise them to, when it's been 2 years since your incarceration or your last day of parole, write that down somewhere. And then, write down the person that you are, responsible to, what you call that, like a probation officer having to speak to in regards to your case. Like whoever your contact person is, You know, they might not be your you might be out of touch with them 2-3 years from now, but write their name down too, so y'all can revisit this and just make it easier when that time comes. I remember it was this date. I remember I was on probation with this person, you know, and then just kind of follow up. Just stay really conscientious of that, because a lot of times, already working with the returning citizen population, I'm like asking for the dates, you know. They're like, can I do it by November this year? Well, it depends on what month, you know, you got off 2 years ago. And I hear a lot of, I don't remember, or I don't know. So make a mental note to know that. Keep that information, so, you know, we don't have this conversation. And because any barrier that's presented would be the reasoning for you not to cast a vote during that election. So as many barriers we can move them. Just be ready.
Good advice. Okay. Can I register, excuse me, can I register to vote and vote if I received a pardon for the felony conviction?
You can. Matter of fact, if you receive a pardon, you can even do jury duty. Because a lot of states, like, you might have your voting rights restored, but a lot of times you'll never get the right to do jury duty. And so a pardon is one of those cases where if you got your pardon in place, you can vote and you can do jury duty if that's in place. But again, whoever is working with you at that time, you know, depending on their position and things like that, write these names down, because when the time comes, you'll want to be able to consult with someone outside of yourself, you know, because if for some reason this goes wrong, you know, these could be felony convictions themselves just by doing things that you don't have rights to do. So I say, you know, the more people you can say, hey, I talked with this person, we all say yay, you know, so.
Okay, if I'm currently detained, do I need to update my voter registration to the jail's address?
Yes, we do want you to do that, because anything can happen in that situation. I mean, the day of, you could probably still be in jail, so then it'd be false information to say you're actually at home. So yeah, you don't want any false information to pop up along the line. So just say where you are, and that way, if you do get out again before it's time to vote, you can change that information swiftly. A lot of that stuff is you could change it as much as you want to. You could change your parties and voting for address. You can do that pretty much many times a year if you need to. It's just those certain dates when it gets really close. So maybe you got a week where you can't do any of that, you know, but leading up to it, there's a lot of wiggle room where you can make any adjustments. So changing your address will just be one of those. Again, it's just about being prepared.
Do I need identification to register to vote and vote?
If you're a first-time voter, you need identification, because they want to know your ID number. So that's there. As far as when it's time to vote, no, you don't need it to vote. You don't need ID just to vote. Pretty much it's for first-time voters primarily. All you really do is be 18 and a citizen and mentally competent.
What if my voter registration is wrongfully denied?
With that question, I didn't have a chance to follow up, but I would definitely consult with someone at the Douglas County Election Commission. Brian Cruz is like the go-to guy there. So I mean, if I was talking to someone who was dealing with that, I would immediately refer them off to Brian Cruz and have them follow up on that, because I wouldn't know why that got denied if you were actually eligible. That's kind of, I've never heard of that happening, so I don't have any insider experience with that.
Okay. What advice would you have for folks interested in doing voter outreach with folks who are returning citizens?
My advice there would be to pretty much tie the issues that the returning citizen is experiencing with the offices and the candidates up for elections. So for instance, like I thought the gubernatorial election is one of the election cycles that's that all returning citizens should be aware of, because you got a governor coming in. Governors pretty much run the board of pardons. So your governor, you want to know, does this guy even believe in pardons? So if you went and committed a crime and you got a long sentence, say 15 years, eligible for parole after so many, you want to know who's your governor. Does this guy even support commutations? Do they have a track record of, being lenient at the pardons board? Same thing with the sheriff race. I noticed that Aaron Hansen, he's in the gang unit. He's running for sheriff. So a returning citizen, more than likely, if you were doing criminal activity in the community, you may know these people. You may have been tried in front of Don Klein. You know these people. And so when it's time for them to run again and you're now free to vote, I mean, these the people had a lot to do with your lengthy stay in the pen, even, your mayor and stuff, do you feel like it was hard for you to obtain a job going the legal route, and there was something that made you do something illegally? Where can we put the blame at? Like, is that a problem with our mayor? Is that a problem with our governor? Is that a problem with our congressman? Is there a problem with the way the police, runs the city? Find out how your situation in particular ties to those offices up for election, and show up. For instance, like when the senators are at the state capitol and during the legislative cycle, where are the returning citizens at? Because they're discussing them, pretty broadly. And it's like, now would be the time to show up and tell them, what's going on, because again, you're the expert in all of this. So come have something to say, do something, let's change this, the way it's projected to turn out. I mean, you guys are the key players. So I think that's really big.
What successes have you had doing voter outreach with people in the criminal justice system?
Oh, the successes is they want to be leaders. They're taking the lead. They're leading by example. A lot of the guys that we've met in this program, because I also work with organizations that do reentry. So I'm getting to meet a lot of guys who got out, got with the reentry programs and mingled with other returning citizens. And now they're running their own construction companies. They're running their own trucking companies. They're turning into ministers. They're running for offices, they're working with the youth. I mean, they're just really becoming leaders. They're changing, they're becoming a part of the solution and not the problem. So they're encouraging others. Some people look up and they see a guy who this close to being a habitual criminal do a whole 360, and it's like, dude, you just saved my life, because just by seeing you do things differently, we've been so accustomed to seeing people do things differently, the worst way it could be done, and now they're starting to see people do things differently in the best manners. And now, just like that, they want to follow that too, because people really want their freedom. You hear a lot of people saying they can't do this time anymore, and they're getting out wanting to tell people that haven't done this time, you don't want to do this time either, So I mean, a lot of good stuff is coming out of this, and having stuff like reentry in place, these type of groups in place, it's just like, yeah, let's do this. Let's see more of it. Again, we stress power in numbers. Everything we do at the Heartland Workers Center, we stress power in numbers, because the more of us we can get to lead by example, the more powerful all of this becomes.
Yeah. Okay. So what barriers have you faced?
The barrier, like with power in numbers, it would be the direct opposite. When you don't have the numbers, then you just can't be as effective as you have the capacity to be. So so by trying to reach returning citizens like we do, pretty much word of mouth, it's slow. So we're not getting that large turnout we want. But the good thing is, with the numbers that we are reaching right now, it's quality over quantity. But however, we want quantity and quality. You know, we want to be, because like with the gubernatorial election, this midterm election, very important. But as we see tomorrow, the primaries is already over. So because we didn't have the large number of returning citizens, we can't be as effective as we would like to have been during this election cycle. So really just finding a way to get access to more returning citizens who want to, you know, look into this, be the person that continues to come back and support others, because this group is not only just for the person that did the time, but we feel like your family. If you do time, your mom's doing time with you, your sister's doing time with you, your girlfriend, brothers, you know, even community members are doing time with you. So everybody that has to, you know, play their part with this returning citizen, we want all of those individuals to be connected. Because again, the objective is power in numbers. How can we make this really big? Like, you ever been to an NA meeting or AA meeting, convention? This stuff gets really big.
No, I haven't been watching. Yeah, okay. Actually, I have a personal, well, kind of my own question. So does any of the returning citizens that you've helped, do they work on your team or help you at
Yes,
all?
they do. They work on our team. And like, I have a returning citizen working with me right now. And because of the work we do, we partner with so many different organizations that's doing the whole advocacy work, you know, nonprofits, you know, things of that nature. But she's working with me with the groups, but I just got a email where Rise is looking for a case manager, you know, someone to work closer with returning citizens. And with the qualifications, I'm able to just share that contact with a person that's a returning citizen, and they can follow up and work closer with returning citizens. Because a lot of them, they're really excited about getting to the point where they're cleared to go back into the penitentiaries. You know, actually coming out of prisoner, going back in as an advocate. You know, so that's just something everybody wants to do. So you could do it with your new line of work, then that's just like, again, leading by example, and that's just becomes really big. So yeah, like for all the connections that I learned of and the people that I know, we take those same people and we're introducing them to them. We're networking, you know, we're putting them out there, you know, reintroducing them. You know, you might have known this person as, you know, Dirty Darren.
Okay.
Now I'm bringing them back as Darren, you know, Epperson, you know. So, introducing you to the other person. So it's I love this work. It's good.
Okay. So where would you like to see your organization in this space or community go? Like, what's your end goal?
My end goal is reducing mass incarceration. We would just love to see that not be, corrections not be the only means of correcting individuals' bad behavior. I would like to see more mental health clinics pop up. A lot of people doing time, it's just the fact that they have mental illness, you know, they're not in a good place mentally. So I like to see more mental health agencies work with everyday people. I love to see the end goal be like when we're at the state capitol and we're supporting a bill or going against a bill, just like sometimes like say someone's doing something for the police. Oh my God, it'd be so many people showed up. It's just, I mean, out in the hallways. I would love to see, you know, things that address mass incarceration just be out in the hallway, returning citizens who are, you know, able to make their voices heard, just show up in large numbers and really fight for their rights, like other people have done. You know, the civil rights movement was full of people who didn't have felonies fighting for the rights of those with, you know, so it's like, you with felons, come fight for your own rights, you know, don't turn that into somebody else's work, make it your work. Yeah, just improving the criminal justice system as we know it. I think when the work is good, that we should be able to affect change there.
Oh, okay, well, that's all for us today. We want to thank you for taking the time to join us, and we also want to thank Yshall for being here with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So for the League of Women Voters of Greater Omaha, I'm Jasmine Frazier, reminding you to inform yourself about issues and candidates, and at election time, be ready to go vote Omaha.